Welcome back to Umineko!
Welcome.
It's the Neko and it's Umi! Sorry, I'm stretching. Ugh. I'm fine. Hold on, I'm still like...
This is a normal occurrence for her.
Yeah, you ever just yell while you stretch?
I don't.
It's very therapeutic. You should try it sometime.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
Alright. We crossed the hall again on our way to the entrance. As we did, we once again spotted that witch's portrait. However, spotted is probably not the best word to describe that experience. It was more like our eyes were inexorably drawn to it. That woman's eyes, with their sage-like glamour, definitely had the power to make those who viewed it stand rooted to the spot. So, this is the witch Beatrice. I wonder if that story's true.
Adler doesn't believe.
When he had asked what this picture was, the first person to tell him had been Maria. Wait, so the narrator now isn't Battler?
That's strange.
Yeah. Therefore, when Battler showed signs of doubt, Maria must have felt that Battler didn't have faith in her. Of course, that wasn't what Battler meant. Maria ran up to the portrait and began banging on the plate hanging below it. Maybe the title of the portrait was written there. Maria, trying to prove she wasn't lying, obstinately continued to hit the plate. I'm sorry about that. It's not like I doubt anything you said, Maria.
Adler believes.
When he patted Maria's head and apologized, she seemed to accept it, sticking out her chest and proudly ooh-ooing. Umineko mod where, Maria talks in uwu speak. What's this? My beloved witch Beatrice. Behold the sweet fish river. What's with this weird huge epitaph? The plate did have the title of the portrait written on it. It was much too big to contain only that. Beneath the title was what appeared to be a long epitaph. If you just skimmed over it, several unnerving words would jump out at you. Incredible, isn't it? Grandmother had that made. Deep, huh?
I know. It's the place where the gold's hidden.
Wait, is it that story about the Ushinomiya family's hidden gold? Oh, there's another thing I remember from long ago. Hold on, Aniki, is this for real? Grandfather had this made, but he never said anything about this picture or the epitaph. Even so, amongst the family, it is often whispered that it indicates the location of grandfather's hidden gold. That he will relinquish the inheritance of the gold to the person who solves the riddle.
I heard that too. Lots and lots of gold.
Well, something like that. Something like 10 metric tons of gold parts. I think it's fake, though. Still, when you read about it in an epitaph like this, it almost seems real. Now we're back to Battler narrating. I think I already explained grandfather's upbringing. Let me also mention the Ushinomiya's family legend of the hidden gold. Of the gold, or whatever the fuck. Goddamn. Grandfather succeeded the Ushinomiya family after it was destroyed in the Great Kanto earthquake. And by successfully riding the stormy seas after the war, he managed to accumulate great wealth. That much is the story everyone knows. However, this is where the strange part begins. Part of it involves grandfather's black magic obsession, so its credibility is extremely low, but... well, wait until the end before you doubt or make fun of it.
Actually, it's not an obsession. It's a special interest.
Should I do true crime voice for this again?
Yes, I suppose so.
After the war, grandfather correctly predicted what the future would hold and won in a huge gamble, accumulating a vast store of wealth. But there's a mysterious legend about how he gained his initial funding. Grandfather came from a branch family and had no connections in the business world or the financial world. Even though he later built connections with the occupying forces, he supposedly started as a nameless person who hadn't yet gained anyone's trust. It takes trust to gather money. There's no way anyone would lend money to someone they didn't trust. How did grandfather, who had no reputation at all, manage to obtain his first vast chunk of funds? When asked that question, grandfather supposedly answered like this. On a certain day, I encountered the Golden Witch Beatrice. Grandfather then went on and on about his continuing research into alchemy and techniques for summoning demons in order to become a great magician. And the entity summoned as the result of the demon calling ceremony was the Golden Witch Beatrice. He then apparently made a contract by which he would receive fortune and honor in exchange for his own soul, which then granted grandfather 10 tons of gold. Grandfather used this gold as collateral to prepare a vast quantity of funds, which he then used to multiply his wealth many times over and revive the Ushiromiya family. It seems this story is so old that even our parents were told it when they were still children. So back when our parents were young, they explored this island in all sorts of ways, believing that the gold grandfather had received from the witch might be hidden somewhere. However, since there was a danger of them getting lost in the abandoned forest, grandmother began to spread the story that the witch lived in the forest and approaching it was forbidden. Alright. I remember that story. When we were little, we also went all over the island searching for treasure after our parents told us about it. Didn't we get lost in the forest once and then start crying until some of the servants found us? Our parents got so mad. I think that takes me back. Sure we're idiots, weren't we? After all, grandfather only bought this island after using those funds to get rich, right? That means he must have had the gold before coming here. There's no way the gold's on this island. That's not necessarily so. Maybe the gold was hidden on the island from the beginning. He bought the whole island just to ensure that it'd be his and his alone. There was a whole 10 metric tons of it, right? Seems more realistic that he tried to secure the place where it was hidden rather than try to move it all. This epitaph was made 2 years ago, and since grandfather wrote it himself, yeah, it does make the legend of the gold seem more believable. The so-called witch's gold that revived the Ushiromiya family weighed 10 tons. Maybe that's sleeping somewhere, ready to be turned over to whoever can solve grandfather's riddle. Maybe that's why he hid it, or did it. I guess that sounds like grandfather's style or something. If it's true, that's pretty incredible. The epitaph carved into the plain was very mysterious, with something like a poem or a song written on it. The text was incredibly disturbing, filled with signs of grandfather's black magic hobby, and its contents were in truly bad taste. It could definitely be viewed as a puzzle which, if solved, might lead to the hidden gold. Whether that's what he intended or not, I can't even imagine what his true motive might have been. All we know for sure is that grandfather put this shady epitaph here so that everyone in the family could see it. We also know that he's hinted at the existence of the gold without ever talking about where it might be hidden, at least so far. These facts then were embellished by the imaginations of our parents, who were convinced that grandfather was challenging us to a battle of wits. Do you think if Battler knocked on Kinzo's study and was like, "Hey, Grandpa, I want to play chess with you," do you think Kinzo would, do a complete 180 on his attitude towards Battler?
I think Kenzo would first ask, "Who the fuck are you?"
Who the fuck is Battler? Who the fuck is this guy? Or do you think he's like, "Shit, chess? Come on in, tell me who you are later. We're playing some chess."
I don't know, but it would be pretty funny.
Hold on, I'm grabbing a drink. I'm thirsty. Alright. Sounds just like my dad. So greedy, he'd take something like this so seriously. I laugh at grandfather's black magic obsession. He'd still believe this story about the hidden gold. It just sounds so... Well, certainly not a realistic story. At that time, when grandfather was still nameless and had no connections, there is no way anyone would just lend him a massive quantity of gold bars for free. If such a person did exist, it's not unthinkable that grandfather would call such a sponsor a witch. Yeah, but it's 10 tons. 10 tons! If you cash that in, how much would it come to? I mean, it had to be a ridiculous amount, right? It certainly would be a ridiculous amount. They say that the total amount of gold mined by humankind since the dawn of history is 100,000 metric tons at most. That's 1/10,000th of all the gold humankind has obtained throughout history. Should belong to just one should belong to just one person is just insane. On top of that, this witch supposedly had all that gold collected in one place and was able to lend it to grandfather just like that. We're not talking about any ordinary person. Well, to me, the 10 tons number seems pretty cheap. After all, no one's actually seen it except grandfather, right? Even if we assume that some generous witch existed and lent him some gold, maybe it was closer to 10 kilograms than 10 tons. 10 kilograms would be a pretty incredible sum, right?
10 kilograms of gold is how much?
Maria, who wasn't following the story and felt like she was being spoken to in riddles, finally found a place where she could ask us a question. It was a question I also wanted answered right then. Whether it was 10 kilograms or 10 tons, it still felt like a huge amount. But I had no idea exactly how huge. George Aniki folded his arms and tried to remember the market price of gold, because he just knows that off the top of his fucking head.
Yep. Of course he does.
Well, hold on.
I heard that.
Well, even the value of gold is affected by the market, and the value of physical gold can change depending on its purity and the trustworthiness of the foundry. You also need to pay handling fees to cash it in. However, that doesn't change the fact that it's a precious metal, and some people estimate that humanity will mine all the world's gold within half a century if gold mining continues at its current rate. Is gold mining still a thing?
I'm gonna be honest. I have no idea.
Yeah, because like...
But during the 80s, I have the same idea, which is nothing at all.
During the 80s, I could see... What I think is that it feels like it should be dying down since humanity has... We basically did invent alchemy, right? Like, we're lab-growing gems. Like, we're growing gems in labs. So, like, there must be some sort of lab-grown gold, right?
There's gotta be some kind of that, but the thing is that gold is an element. And you can't, the thing is that you can't just make an element from scratch, as far as I know.
Oh, shit.
But my knowledge of chemistry is extremely basic.
Well, according to...
less than basic.
According to I fucking love science, which I assume is what IFL stands for, new form of lab-made gold is better and golder than nature's pathetic version.
Wow. That's so rude. That's so fucked up.
This was an article back in 2018. I don't know how, yeah, it looks like it's able, yeah, it's yeah. Using Oh my god. Well, scientists have been able to create small amounts of gold in a laboratory setting using nuclear transmutation or chemical reactions. So we are alchemists. We did make alchemy.
I guess we did.
We did it.
Huh.
Shit. Just guessing haphazardly. I think you can expect a price of about 2 million yen per kilogram. Just now, I randomly said 10 kilograms since it sounded smaller. Even that would be worth 20 million yen, wouldn't it?
They weigh 28 kilograms.
Which means that if we had Maria-chan's weight in gold, we could estimate it's worth at over 50 million yen. That's just unbelievable. How much would 10 tons be then? 10 kilograms is 20 million yen, which you multiply by 1,000, so... Huh? 20 billion yen? The fuck? How much is 20 billion yen actually worth? I don't know, give me a few minutes and I can get 20 billion yen in Yakuza 0, so it can't be worth that much. just completely out of touch with how money works. I'm glad you found that funny. I thought that was gonna be a stupid joke.
It was a stupid joke, but it was funny.
We can only measure it relative to our own pocketbooks. Anyway, let's say that a person's wages over a lifetime are about 200 million yen. You grow up and work like crazy, sacrificing your life for your company, and you're finally freed as you approach old age. Everything, including retirement money, might add up to about 200 million yen. In other words, that's the amount of money that'll be made throughout a human's life. No, you could even call it the value of a life. The 100 times that sum is an unbelievable amount of money. If you work from age 20 to 60, that's 40 years of work. So it's equal to 4,000 years of work wages. If you worked every day starting from the Jomon period, you'd only reach that number about now. When was the Jomon period? Hold on. Jomon period.
I'm guessing it was 4,000 years ago, based on what he said.
It was the time between 14,000 and 300 BC. They were still hunter-gatherers starting to dabble in agriculture. Damn. God damn. Sorry, every time anyone ever puts like a billion or a few billion into perspective is always fucking insane. Anyway, eat the rich.
Yeah. Kenzo should redistribute his wealth.
Exactly.
Badler should become head so that he could redistribute Kenzo's wealth. I know he would.
He personally helped start up unions.
Yeah. But I think, because I think he would just start thinking, oh, I know what the hell to do with all this money.
To be fair, Kenzo is the billionaire every billionaire thinks they are.
Yeah.
He did work his ass off and flip and did all that shit and got extremely fucking lucky. Still a rich asshole though.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He also still did have the right situation for it, because he was one in a branch family.
Yeah.
You still have to have the right setup.
Yeah, exactly.
Is 20 billion yen a lot?
Yeah, it's a lot. Maria, you love shortcake, right? You could buy more shortcake than you could possibly eat for the rest of your life. However, while that might be possible with 20 billion yen in cash, I don't think it'd be very realistic to have that much in gold bars all in one place. Shit, how much is in Fort Knox?
Hmm?
I'm Fort Knox. That's a American thing that, if I remember correctly, has a shit ton of gold.
I am looking up what that is.
It's a military. It's the United States Bullion Depository building in Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay.
Um,
Let's see how much gold it has.
4,583 metric tons of gold reserves.
Damn, that's a lot.
With a market value of US dollars 290.9 billion.
Jeez.
Representing 56.35% of the gold reserves of the United States. So we have about $4,000 more worth of gold.
That's still like
Insane.
significant because that's so significant because it's like one person's wealth compared to, I'm guessing, a country's wealth or a government's wealth.
Oh yeah. Though to be fair, we have all this fucking gold and we're in such an incredible amount of debt. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we should use some of that fucking gold.
Yeah, maybe you should start. Maybe you'll start selling it.
God damn. Anyway, just as I said, gold is extremely heavy, so it isn't exactly convenient as a method of storing wealth. Sure, you could imagine someone gathering their fortune together as incredibly high-value stocks or precious gems. You often hear of people who traded their wealth for precious gems so they could carry it around with them during the chaotic times of the war. You don't usually hear stories of people exchanging their wealth for gold. It may be heavy. It's the most trusted and stable form of wealth internationally, so maybe that was important. For example, bonds are just scraps of paper the whole country goes under. You can also look at it that way. Even one 10-kilogram ingot is pretty heavy to carry around. Haven't you heard? A 50-kilogram person can't carry a 50-kilogram bag over their shoulder. I have no idea. I'm in America. I don't know the metric system. Hold on.
It's times 2.54.
I'm just gonna look it up. Oh
That was
goddamn.
127 pounds.
Yeah. This one says 100. This Google says 110 pounds.
Oh wait, I might have gotten it wrong then.
Yeah. Either way, that's about. I think that's about half of my weight. Like I think I'm a little over 200. A little fun fact. Go ahead, write that shit down for your wiki.
Internet micro celebrity.
The micro is being generous as hell. With that many gold bars, the amount of labor and risk for one person would be hard to calculate. So what you're saying is, while it'd be one thing if you had a stack of banknotes worth 20 billion yen, 20 billion yen in gold would be such a big mountain that practically it'd be kind of pointless. That's right. Although the legend of the gold does have a pretty interesting ring to it. Just the part about the 10 tons of gold makes it pretty much impossible. If you think about it logically like that, it sounds obviously, and it brings you back down to reality. Anyway, that's grandfather for you. Maybe exaggerated the story of how some kind wealthy person gave him a loan by saying he got 10 tons of gold from a witch. Even the number 10 tons feel pretty symbolic. I mean, like his gratitude for the money he borrowed was worth 10 tons of gold or something? Maybe some rich man's leisured wife generously granted it to grandfather. maybe he started calling this person a witch. Maybe grandfather was a homewrecker. I see. Just because his example isn't bad. Someone who generously lent a huge sum of money to grandfather when he still had no reputation might as well be called a witch. Furthermore, grandfather actually did use that money to build a vast amount of wealth later on. The fact that this person was so great at judging people might also justify calling her a witch. Also, since she went to the trouble of lending all that money, she might have enthusiastically overseen how it was spent. The decision to unexpectedly get involved with the occupying forces and profit from the Korean War demands might have been inspired by the witch herself. That might explain why he claimed to have received both wealth and honor from her. See. So, in other words, this witch lent grandfather the funds necessary to revive the Ushiromiya family, and he owed her big time. And then he felt so grateful that he had that huge painting drawn and displayed. Yeah, it's not that crazy a story. It's even possible this person was an old granny who looked like a witch. Maybe grandfather idolized her, and that's why he had her drawn to look so beautiful. I bet if we ever did meet this person, she wouldn't be nearly this pretty. That's possible. The name Beatrice sounds pretty Western, and if you think about how everyone in our family has Western names, maybe even the name Beatrice is the result of grandfather trying to rearrange some Japanese person's name to make it sound Western. I get it. That means this pretty girl doesn't exist outside the picture. Guess that... Guess that means I won't be able to rub those elegant breasts. Might as well just let people have that soundbite.
Yep.
In the first place, isn't having a witch pretty bizarre by itself? You could find something like that anywhere on Earth. I laughed and made fun of the witch, trying to distinguish myself from the kid I was 6 years ago, who feared the witch of the forest. When Maria tugged at my sleeve. 7 days! Just... I could tell by how hard she pulled that she was a bit upset. What is it, Maria?
The teacher exists.
Maria stared up at me. She had on her usual sour look. I could tell she was angry by the color of her eyes. Look at them. Damn.
Witches exist. Witches exist.
Well, sure, they do exist if you turn on the TV. If you turn the TV on and watch anime or something.
Exist. Witches exist.
I started getting impatient, not knowing why Maria was jumping on me like this. Then Jessica tapped me on the shoulder and whispered, "You're smashing a kid's dream. Maria really believes things like witches and Beatrice exist." Come to think of it, Maria-chan, in social studies at your school, when you were asked to write about what you wanted to be when you grew up, you wrote a witch, didn't you? Maria nodded seriously. Tears started to run from the corners of her eyes. I see. A girl who wants to become a witch in the future. The existence of Beatrice was proof that witches do exist in this world, and was therefore an image that she yearned after and admired. Ow.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I don't know if you heard it, but the fucking punch sound effect.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of a smack.
He's like, ow! What the fuck?
Yeah, what happened?
No, Maria. I think Maria hit Battler.
Oh, okay. Exist. Witches exist.
Sounds like Maria's beating the shit out of Battler.
I thought it was just coming from your side.
You thought I got punched?
I thought you stubbed your toe or something, or like hit your leg on something. I don't know.
The most vicious toe stub in the world.
Something like that, yeah. But Battler still doesn't believe.
It's okay. Witches do exist. I believe it. George Anaki kneeled down and hugged Maria's head. Watching this, Jessica poked my side. That's what it is. Shouting that Santa Claus doesn't exist in front of a child who believes in him on Christmas Eve. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to shadow kids' dreams. Oh, I'm sorry, Maria. I didn't realize you're such a stupid idiot. Just like, oh, he's just doubling down. I wasn't trying to make fun of your dreams, so I apologize. Sure, it does exist. Even now, she's living in the forest and comes to the mansion every night to peek in and see what everyone's doing. We shouldn't go into the forest. At night, you mustn't stare into the dark forest. You might be seen by the witch of the forest, Beatrice. After all, grandmother said so. Eller just like, though, if she does exist, he like leans down and grabs her shoulders. She's gonna have to catch these fucking hands. I just really like the idea of Battler just hating Beatrice the moment he sets his eyes on the painting. Like, he's just like, who's this bitch? She looks like a fucking asshole.
No, that would be pretty funny. Really? Battler really believes?
I believe. Sorry for doubting it. Come on, let's make up. Stuck out my hand. Maria grabbed it with her tiny hand and we made up. Maria didn't grumble anymore after than that, but George Aniki and Jessica were relieved.
Oh, so this is where all of you were. I was sure you had just left to go to the beach.
Shannon-chan, carrying a basket, was surprised to find us all gathered in front of the portrait. Shannon. Was this the first time Battler has seen Beatrice's portrait? He's just fascinated by it.
That's right. It certainly is fascinating. Beatrice-sama is truly beautiful. I'm sure that she captivated the master.
In addition to the patron theory, there's also a theory that she was grandfather's first love. Either way, although it's been several decades since he met her, even now she holds a special place in his heart. Which must mean that he's still captivated by her. Sheesh. That must make grandmother pretty jealous, huh? I'm not really sure. That might be true. Apparently, grandfather believed he was cheating on her with some blonde.
Good smell. Good smell coming from Shannon.
Oh, thank you. That's my new shampoo. Maria, sniffing, approached the basket Shannon-chan was holding with interest. After hearing that, I noticed a fragrant scent with a touch of vanilla.
I apologize. I was told by Kumasawa-san to bring them to everyone.
What is it, I wonder? Oh, excellent! Cookies!
Wanna eat cookies? Wanna eat cookies? Please, eat as much as you'd like. But,
Would it be appropriate to serve cookies in a place like this? In front of the portrait? Shannon-chan sent us a glance that seemed to ask what we wanted to do about it. Well, yeah, I guess eating here would be bad manners, generally speaking. Maria, oh shit. Maria, why don't we eat someplace else? Let's put the cookies in a bento and have a picnic.
have a picnic. Have a picnic. If we can eat cookies, let's go.
Yeah, let's go get some fresh air. We didn't stuff ourselves right in front of the witch. That's right. Didn't we say that we wanted to go down to the beach in the first place? Let's go. Shannon-chan. Sorry, but could I ask you to get us a blanket to sit on and some flasks of tea?
Right. Certainly.
Chan received her instructions and gracefully bowed before retracing her steps. We headed for the beach on our own. Everyone headed for the entrance in a group. Feeling as though that witch was staring down at our backs, I turned around once more.
Adler, you still don't believe?
Nope, I believe. It'd be so much cooler that way. Holding much Beatrice gave grandfather 10 tons of gold. That gold might be sleeping around here somewhere. Besides, didn't grandfather write that strange epitaph as though challenging us to find it if we can? I'd say that kind of adventurous story is way better. 20 billion yen worth of gold, huh? Even if we split it up between the 4 of us, that's still a ridiculous amount of money. 5 billion yen for each of us. Incredible. With that kind of money, you could probably make any sort of business prosper. In fact, we could live our whole lives fabulously without working at all.
I don't want 5 billion yen. I want cookies. Cookies.
So fucking real of you, Maria.
Extremely based.
Maria would take cookies over money. Still, 5 billion yen. That's like a dream. We're all rich.
Ah.
You okay?
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, damn. This guy again.
Oh, fuck this asshole.
Ridiculous. Is it possible that you all truly believe in Father's legend of the gold?
Of course we don't believe that story about a witch giving him gold. There's no mistake about the gold itself.
The fact that Father obtained gold bars from an unknown source has been confirmed in several ways. We've heard that before the president of the Maruso company died, Father showed him a large pile of gold somewhere. Father used that man's claim as proof that there were 10 tons worth. That's just the nonsense of a senile old man. Along with Father, he was just fabricating a story. You can't take it seriously.
If that gold didn't exist, he wouldn't have been able to gather so much funding. Before the president died, he was a person with such a sincere personality that he earned the respect of many in the business world. He wouldn't have become a partner to such fraud. Aniki, the president of Maruso, definitely saw it, and tons of it, clearly with his own eyes. Even more, and let the president take one ingot at random and have it examined. The results of the examination show that the 10-kilogram ingot was 99.99% pure. He said that the Ushiromiya family crest, a one-winged eagle, was imprinted on it. All this talk of gold is making me want to play Fallout New Vegas again.
Well, I haven't played it. What's the connection?
There's a DLC where you're doing a heist, a post-apocalyptic heist, and there's just a shit ton of gold you can steal.
That should be done with Umineko.
Umineko themed Fallout mod.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen Beato in Fallout New Vegas.
Wait, you have?
I think I sent it to you.
You might have, and I just don't remember it.
Yeah, you definitely don't remember it.
We know I'm dumb.
It's okay. My memory's probably worse than yours.
No, remember that the other day you said something, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Oh yeah, I told you this like 2 years ago."
I can't remember what it was. This is just a test to that. Almost instantly, the Ushiromiya legend of the gold spread amongst the fixers of the business world. Gold from an unknown foundry has a poor rate of conversion into money. Thinking that it was a chance for decisive profits, they accepted it as collateral. Yeah. And as a result, Father was able to receive massive loans. Is there no limit to the absurdity you're willing to accept? How old are you people? Are you still taking that nursery tale you heard as children seriously? Where's the proof that this 10 tons of gold even exists? Aren't you just parroting the lies of father and few of those close to him?
Of course, it's just a story. Still, Aniki, the amount of money that raised required a suitable amount of collateral. Even if the gold itself was just a rumor, it's an undoubtable fact that he showed them a treasure of comparable worth.
It was just an illusion of money created by our penniless father. He acted as though he actually had gold that didn't exist, fooling his sponsors. It was probably the gamble of a lifetime. Luckily, his use of those funds proved successful. If the Korean War demands hadn't come and the Ushiromiya family had not been restored, father would probably have been hounded after as the crook of the century.
So are you saying the gold never existed and father made it all up?
Of course. And because of that, the illusion of gold became a mere inconvenience once he'd achieved enough success. That's why, later on, father added all that about yawn again. About a witch and black magic, weakening the credibility of the entire story. In other words, he revealed that the illusion of the gold was a fabrication. If he claimed to have received the gold from a witch, no one would believe that it existed at all, right? It's also possible he said it for all of your sakes. Nevertheless, here comes some stupid offspring wanting to divide up this non-existent gold, along with the rest of the inheritance. Rosa, don't tell me that even you believe in a fabrication like this.
I didn't say
They're just dragging.
fucking anything.
They just keep dragging Rosa into this.
I really wish she was just like, what the fuck? I'm just here enjoying my tea.
She's not really enjoying it.
He's like, God, you guys suck. I'm gonna go hang out with Natsuhi.
Natsuki's also there. Oh wait, no, she's like crying or something.
Yeah, she
right?
left. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause
she's gonna go cry with Natsuhi.
Yeah, they're just gonna let it all out together. Maybe kiss a little.
Yeah.
Maybe kiss a little.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I ship Natsuhi and Rosa.
That's extremely based.
That's the one I don't ship Natsuhi and Ava. I ship Natsuhi and Rosa.
I love that. Who do you ship? So do you ship Ava with Cutie then?
No. Ava's
I remember you saying something about them.
I think Natsuhi, Rosa, and Kirie should all get together and just leave the Ushiromiya family.
Extremely based.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think Ava deserves happiness. She's kind of a dick.
You're so true.
She's kind of a bitch. Like, God
I love that middle-aged woman, Yuri.
I can't prove whether or not Father really had the gold. I just want to claim my rightful share as one of Father's 4 children.
Huh. Seems even you have started to talk that way, Rosa. I see. So that's what you're all getting at. You're trying to claim that I'm attempting to keep the gold for myself. Nissan, you've gathered a massive supply of funds. That's a fact. If we rule out the possibility that you've been embezzling Father's personal funds, then there's only one possibility left, right?
I'm just imagining Kirie is just like in the background going insane, like, what the fuck are they talking about?
Oh, no, she knows what they're talking about. Rudolph doesn't want her to talk.
Yeah, but like they kind of implied that Rudolph didn't say anything about this like intervention with Kraus.
Mm.
So she's just sitting there like, these fucking idiots. Like, there's no way this is gonna work.
Yeah.
Aniki, we've been thinking that you might have found those 10 tons of gold bars.
Ridiculous. Such a thing never existed in the first place. Then explain yourself. Was it embezzlement of father's assets or father's hidden gold? How could you have gathered so much funding not by one of these methods?
Can you imagine if he was just flat out like, yeah, I embezzled? Just
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine that.
Ava,
But
Ava would Ava would 100% call the cops.
she would flip
100%,
her shit.
like, throw him under the bus.
Oh, she would flip her shit because then now she has one less token to use against him.
He just like knocks on the door. Hey Dad, I embezzled your money. You did what? What you gonna fucking do now, Ava?
Even I have many friends in the political and financial realms. I have earned their cooperation, nothing more. And on that matter, I have no responsibility to explain myself to you. You understand, don't you? There are some topics that ought not to be spoken of.
If you insist on that point, then that's all well and good for now. To Anarchy, Dad doesn't have long. Nobody can ensure that he'll live to see this day next year. The inheritance process will begin at the instant of Dad's death. We'll arrange for lawyers and accountants who are impartial to all of us and have them inspect Dad's financial situation.
And at that time, if it comes to light that you have unjustly interfered with father's money, you understand, right? I don't have a clue what you're talking about. You're starting to make me feel as indignant as my wife was.
Of course, Father's gold is part of Father's fortune. You understand it's money you can't reveal openly. The four siblings should have an equal right to it. In other words, we're gonna have your financial situation investigated as well as Dad's to determine whether you're hoarding the gold or not.
Isn't this a great opportunity? Right now, prove the existence of your so-called support from friends and acquaintances. That way we can sportingly apologize for foolishly doubting you. Right, Rosa?
What the
Again!
fuck?
Again!
That's right.
Rosa doesn't even want to say anything.
Like
Everyone they just have to include her.
they just keep because you know if she just says 2 words, they're gonna like be like, all right, come on, keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Krasny-san, you are the one who's dodging the issue. If you were guiltless, you just proved that you were in the right, but you aren't even trying to do so. However, Aniki, we still have to consider your position here. As Dad's representative, you're probably bearing a larger share of the burden than we are. We've been living terribly relaxed lives until now, so it wouldn't be fair for the rest of us to complain without taking your efforts into account.
Huh. It seems you cannot make up your mind whether to flatter me or slander me. Please get to the point.
Basically, randomly investigating nitpicky aspects of Father's wealth seems like a pretty crude way to go about it. As you said, Krasny-san, there may have been a movement of money that are difficult. There may have been movements of money that are difficult to explain. We've come to consult with you today while fully aware of that point. Both sides stand to gain from talking about this now.
A consultation? Huh.
When the inheritance is divided, you'll be rewarded for your years of hard work taking care of Dad. I thought I might fucking dyslexic because I saw Dad buy, and for a second there, I thought Rudolph was about to say Daddy, and I was like, that is a.
No, I understand why you thought that.
You'll be rewarded for your years of hard work taking care of Daddy by an agreement that's generous in your favor.
Don't misunderstand us, Nissan. We aren't saying that we'll abandon our rights. But when we make our claim for what we deserve, we might as well offer a generous understanding for your position. That's what we mean.
In other words, if you accept our conditions, then when the inheritance is divided, leave the investigation of Father's financial situation to you, Krasny-san. All the siblings from Ava downward suspected that Kraus was trying to steal their father's wealth. So, letting Kraus report the state of that wealth was extremely contradictory and a huge concession. If, as they claimed, Kraus was actually embezzling monies, Kraus would be able to hide that fact. Besides which, it'd be possible for him to control the distribution of the inheritance in a manner favorable to himself. Kraus, realizing this sounded too good to be true, couldn't help but feel suspicious. He couldn't help but worry about what they'd ask for in exchange.
Huh. After mistrusting me completely, you now say that you're willing to restore your confidence in me as the eldest sibling. So, what is it you want in return?
Just what we deserve as siblings. You aren't the kind of person who'd steal Dad's property. You also aren't being financed by some patron. Considering all that, there's a certain explanation that'd satisfy the rest of us.
Nissan, you found 10 tons of gold and used that as collateral to gather some funding. Yes, just like Father did in the past, right?
If that's the case, there won't be any funny business in Father's finances. You've always been a good son looking after Father. Why do we mistrust a person like that?
You're being so roundabout, I can barely understand you. Please speak in clearer and more practical terms.
Our first condition. Aniki, you must admit that you found Dad's gold.
Are you asking me to admit I possess gold that doesn't exist? Our second condition. You'll acknowledge that each sibling has a right to a share of the gold, and you will pay out those shares. How foolish. With that non-existent 20 billion yen of gold, that would be 5 billion yen per person. Are you telling me to pay a total of 15 billion yen? Ridiculous.
Keep listening until the end. We know that much money can't just pop up out of nowhere. We're not asking you to make an impossible deal. It was very nice that you included me in the four. Very nice of you, actually. Like, why? Hideyoshi and Ava are married. Why does he have to give them 10 billion?
What do you mean?
Because he explicitly said he needs to play. Wait, no, shit, no, I'm just being stupid. Never mind. Yeah, I'm just being dumb. Ignore that.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm just being dumb. I misremembered. Yeah, never mind. Of course, regarding the portions of the gold, we plan to reward you plenty for your hard work until now.
Our third condition, the portion of the gold will be to the one bearing the title of successor to the Ushiromiya head family, will be 50%. The remainder will be considered the fair share for the siblings and divided up. Of course, this also includes you, Krasny-san.
Of the 20 billion, 12.5 billion will go to Aniki. 2.5 billion will go to Eva Nesan. 2.5 billion will go to me. And 2.5 will go to Rosa.
That division scheme makes me so grateful I could cry. So you're saying, for the sake of the gold that doesn't exist, I must pay you 7.5 billion yen. What's wrong? Nissan, your share is 5 times the size of ours. These are such good terms, I'd be jumping for joy.
Our fourth condition. Gold will be liquidated and distributed along with the inheritance at the time of father's death. However, as a deposit, 10% of our portions are to be paid to us promptly. These payments must be made before March of next year. What do you think, Krasny-san? This is an ideal chance for you to restore the trust regarding your handling father's assets, isn't it? Of course! It might be impossible to get a whole 7.5 million before father dies. I'm adding an accent to this voice now. I did
He
not.
does have a different accent than the rest of the characters.
But it should be possible for you to manage a deposit of 750 million, right? Getting 700 million in half a year might sound like a pain, but you should be able to manage it, what with all your friends in the political and business spheres.
Normally, we'd hope to receive the 7.5 billion right now, all at once. But out of concern for you, we'll show our sincerity by asking for only 10% of that, for the time being. The remaining 90% can wait until the inheritance is distributed. See? Even you'd be capable of managing a mere 10% to show your sincerity. So you're trying to sell me the right to assess father's financial situation for 750 million yen? How impressive. You all certainly have grown. To think that I'm now the one being offered deals. Isan, if you accept these terms, the rest of us siblings will leave the investigation of father's assets to you. However, the results of the investigation will be subject to scrutiny. It's only natural, right? It would be so sad if you managed things so that our 7.5 billion share shrank.
We'll avoid complaining as a general rule. Just make sure you do it neat and tidy. As long as you don't try anything that's blatantly obvious, we've got no intention of stirring things up. We want our inheritance quickly, too. We don't want it to get all drawn out and left hanging.
If a complaint is made, who would carry out the follow-up investigation?
We don't mind if it's you. It's probably the first and last chance for us siblings to reach a consensus. We even won't come to that.
Looks like even you can speak up now and then, Rosa.
Okay, what the fuck was that about? Goddamn.
Most of the time she's been speaking here has been when others have called on her.
Yeah,
So,
no, I just love the idea of Rosa just being like, okay, I guess I'll shut up now. Okay, you want that? I just won't say shit. By this,
it is a pretty good idea.
yeah, I just fed up, Rosa. Just what the fuck, guys? By this
She does
point,
get pretty fed up later.
yeah, but to someone who doesn't deserve it.
Yeah.
By this point, it's obvious that Kraus wasn't at all trusted as the oldest sibling, so there's no need to go into detail. Formerly tyrannical oldest brother had always abused his privileges and violated the other siblings' shares. In response to this, that the other three, now adults, were finally teaming up and striking back for the first time. Sorry, but there's more. Fifth condition. This decision must take precedence over father's will. Later on, we don't want some will to appear and make this decision completely irrelevant. Because who fucking cares what the dying man says, you know?
I see that you're very cautious. Then let me ask, if the gold really were found, what would you do?
Since you'll be making payments to us for what the gold's worth, the rest of us really don't care if we ever see the gold or not. We can think of our share as an advanced payment.
It's good to have dreams, isn't it? You plan to turn this island into a resort, right? You might stumble upon the gold by chance during construction.
Eva let out a high-pitched laugh. Kraus watched, but didn't even flinch. Can you imagine being the worker who finds the 10 tons of gold?
I wouldn't tell anyone.
Yeah, I'd pocket one at the very least and be like, oh my god, guys, there's gold. I definitely didn't steal any of it, you know?
I'd share it with the rest of the workers.
Yeah, I like grab a bar and give it to, at least a bar and give it to all the workers.
Yeah.
I, I played Fallout New Vegas. I know you gotta be careful with stealing gold. Anyway, go on.
Let me add let me add a seventh condition before I accept. In the situation that any sibling other than myself finds the gold, they will immediately turn it over to me. Yes, yes, of course, we'll hold on to it for you.
Krause is like, that's not what I fucking said. It was a play on words. Of course, the others, who were forcing Krause to pay money for some non-existent gold, wouldn't save Krause's fortune if they actually found it. From the beginning, this deal had been nothing more than a threat directed at Krause. Regardless of the actual facts, it was still extremely likely that Krause was embezzling his father's assets. When Kinzo faced death at last and had his inheritance distributed, some unpleasant facts would surely come to light. That could easily become fatal to Krause. The others had spotted this weak point and were threatening their brother under the veil of compromise, trying to wring a huge sum of money out of him. However, they had forgotten one thing. They had forgotten that their brother's brain moved so swiftly, at least when it came to cunning and guile, that they'd been forced to band together to combat him. While Ava couldn't stop smiling, sure for victory, Krause let out a gloating laugh to show how relaxed he was.
This all makes for such a touching story. My estrangement from you all has left a deep pain in my heart. If accepting these conditions means we siblings can become friends again, it would please me to know, and I'd be happy to agree to your deal. Rejoice, Rosa.
I didn't do anything!
We have reached an understanding.
That's the look of I've said nothing. Stop pointing the fingers at me.
But she still has to be there.
Yeah. Rosa's expression dimmed. It was never a good sign when her brother started talking like this to her. Eva also keenly picked up on this. That's why she was unable to wipe away a sense of unease, even though Krause had obediently accepted the deal.
My, how obedient of you. It's not like you at all, Nisan. What a cruel thing to say. Are you implying I have some ulterior motive? Of course I don't. I'm just the same as all of you.
Just the same as all of you. He seemed to emphasize just that one part. The color of Rudolph's face darkened. It sounded as though Krause was saying, I have a plan similar to yours. So Rudolph panicked. He rushed to bring this newly resolved discussion to a conclusion. Then we're good. So Aniki, would you mind signing here? This is a written contract summarizing the discussion we've just been having. There's one for each of us. Everyone will sign for the same content. Rudolph took 4 written contracts out of his breast pocket that had the details of their deal written on them. God, how big is that breast pocket? The 7th condition you proposed will, of course, be added right now. Don't worry about that. Aniki, need a pen? Rudolph took a fountain pen out of his breast pocket because it's a fucking TARDIS in there apparently, and offered it to Krause. Krause made as if to accept it, but then, with a small laugh, he drew back his hand without taking it and spoke.
Actually, in order to ensure that this agreement is properly executed, I'd like to propose an amendment on just one point.
As soon as Krause said that single sentence, all of the siblings felt as though something ominous was creeping up their backs at the same time.
That won't do. We've already decided, haven't we? Just stay quiet and sign it. Why are you in such a hurry, Ava? Of course I'll sign. I promise the share of the gold going to all of you will be 7.5 billion yen. I also promise that, when Father's inheritance is distributed, I will cleanly and neatly liquidate it. However, there is one point that I simply must insist that you compromise on.
What are you talking about? What don't you like?
The part about promptly paying 10% of your share, 750 million yen. As you pointed out, my financial situation is far from prosperous. While I can guarantee that I will collect on various future investments, I must admit that I am quite poor at the present moment, he says, wearing a three-piece suit.
Yeah.
In short, I have absolutely no money that I can move around right now. I am incompetent, and my business sense is dull. Since I am the loser you all claimed me to be, I don't have the power to move 750 million yen in just half of a year.
Imagine if this wasn't part of his plan and like he's like having a breakdown. Like he just starts sobbing. You're right. Oh fuck! It's
That can't be true. Are you trying to deceive us with such a half-baked trick? At the time of the division of the inheritance, I will liquidate everything at once. Remove the condition that I must pay you 10% in advance. That is the only condition under which I am willing to sign.
shit. That's me. Kraus Nissan. That 10% is nothing more than a number to measure your sincerity, isn't it? All things being equal, you shouldn't have any room to negotiate at all. We're doing you a huge favor by offering to let things slide for just 10% in good faith money. Now that we've explained that, you rejecting our offer would seriously damage our trust and relationship, right? Yoshi had a humble expression on his face and was rubbing his hands together. His eyes weren't calm at all. Kraus had already seen through to the shadow in the depths of those eyes.
Why are you all in such a rush? Or could it be that you're afraid of something? Rosa, won't you tell me alone? Secretly, so the rest of the siblings can't hear.
It's not as though I... Quit it, Anaki. What we're asking is whether you're going to sign or not. Forget about making any strange deals or any other suspicious moves.
You say that I have no room to negotiate? Are you trying to claim that I'm in a weak position? Which, therefore, puts us in an unequal relationship?
Shivers began to crawl up Rudolph's back. He began to feel himself getting overwhelmed by the height of his brother's completely insurmountable wall, and the long shadow that existed since they were children.
Shouldn't deals be made between those on even footing? From my perspective, this deal will help restore the long-lost trust of my younger siblings and deepen the love between us. It's an old problem that's been eating at me, and one I would prefer to resolve as soon as possible. I would be overjoyed if we could resolve it today. However, it seems I'm not the only one who'd be quite glad to close this deal quickly. Am I wrong?
Ross stared at each of his siblings. They avoided his gaze with animal-like instinct. Sleep, now he's got the upper hand. You fucking stare him dead in the goddamn eyes. You gotta have a staring contest with this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Only Hideyoshi was slow in avoiding it, so he was caught by Kraus's gaze.
Hideyoshi-san, I hear your company has been doing extremely well lately. At a brisk pace, it went public, and both its track record and its stock prices have soared. I'm truly jealous. We aren't here to talk about my husband. However, it's unfortunate that you've neglected your stockholders. It's even more unfortunate that you were unable to solidify your base when you became stock listed. Before you realized it, some bad-natured colleagues of yours had brought up a huge share of your company's stock, right?
How did you know about that?
Same way you knew about me. If it's possible to collect evidence that proving that no one would offer a loan to me, then it's possible for me to collect evidence on you. Is it really so unexpected as that?
Kraus grinned broadly. In contrast, Hideyoshi's face was rapidly turning pale. Hideyoshi's company was a restaurant chain management company that he'd started from nothing. Thanks to Hideyoshi's management efforts, the company had achieved success repeatedly, expanding its range, and a petition to make it a stock-listed company had recently succeeded. The greatest advantage of being in the stockholding system is that you can sell stock certificates and gain a large amount of financing. That amount tends to be far greater than a business's normal profits. So this is an extremely effective way to gather massive funds to expand a business even further. However, in exchange for financing the company, the stockholders gain certain rights. They're given rights that allow them to observe and guide the company they've invested in, leading to profits even greater than their original investments. This right is guaranteed to the stockholders, and they sometimes use it to dismiss ineffectual management. The right allows them to keep an eye on management and prevent the money they've invested in the company from going to waste. However, if they use it forcibly, they can eject the former management and take over the company. After all, dismissing management and nominating new management are powers held by the general body of all shareholders. That power is determined by the majority decision of the stockholders, and people who hold more stocks get to cast more votes. In other words, if some person or group holds a majority of the stock, they can freely chase out the old management and make the president anyone they'd like. If they want, it's also possible for them to make themselves president. Most companies take various defensive measures to stop malicious people from buying up their stocks and threatening their position, ensuring that lots of stock is bought by those close to him, such as company employees. However, Hideyoshi's company had only recently become stock listed, and he had had time to strengthen those defensive measures. Or maybe Hideyoshi was so engrossed in the management of his company that he couldn't properly understand the dangers of being stock listed. Hard to say whether he should be viewed as a kind-hearted manager immersed in the world of management, or a foolish manager who had his feet swept out from under him. In other words, there existed some people who wouldn't let him get away with that naivety unscathed. He began repeatedly buying up stock in Hideyoshi's company, rapidly gaining such strength that they couldn't be ignored. They then sent anonymous documents to the shareholders in an attempt to gain control of the majority. The documents read, "Current management continues to make pointless investments and is ignoring the needs of the stockholders. Let us force the current management to retire, cut the current wasted investments, and let this company be born again as one that gives more back to the stockholders." It's very difficult to make the actual state of a company's management known. The fruits of Hideyoshi's sleepless nights and constant concern for his company were cruelly distorted, and he lost the trust of his stockholders. Thanks to these efforts, this group had officially collected a majority of the company's stock. At that point, even Hideyoshi noticed that and started to buy back the stock, but the stockholders realized that the company was undergoing an acquisition maneuver, and each demanded a ridiculous price for the shares that Hideyoshi was trying to buy back. They continually tortured Hideyoshi, and had no leeway in the negotiation of the price. One of the certainties of capitalism is that the price will rise when two parties vie for the same thing, and one of the certainties of democracy is that the majority controls everything. So in the end, whoever manages to buy up the most stock wins. But another way, whoever has the most money wins. Unless Hideyoshi could obtain a large sum of money at this critical time, he could easily lose all he had built so far. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now. He couldn't wait for the division of Kinso's inheritance since no one knew when he would die.
And you, Rudolph, have been in quite a lot of trouble lately too, haven't you? You always hear people say it's terrifying overseas, but it seems it really is true. American trials are settled quite emotionally. They never hand down generous judgments to foreigners. Weren't you advised by your lawyer that making a settlement with the other party would be more economical in the long run? What's this all about?
Well, it's just some trouble from work. No big deal. Nothing you can't settle with money. It's not like I married you because you were one of my best employees, and I knew I could trust you with most things. I fucking hate this. I hate this. I hate Rudolph so much. Like, it is explicitly stated that he married Kyrie because she knows how to get shit done.
Yep.
And he's just too much of a fucking pussy to ask his wife for help.
And he just didn't tell her about this.
Yeah.
And they were co-workers.
And they were roommates. Kyrie immediately guessed the meaning behind the subtle expression on Rudolph's face. Her husband had gotten wrapped up in some kind of trouble without her knowledge, and had been worrying over it alone.
That's right. In this world, anything can be settled with money. After all, it can even buy back the broken bonds between siblings. America is very fussy about the violation of rights. But with money, anything can be settled. Long live capitalism.
I like how you couldn't say that with a straight face.
But he's so funny. It's just really funny that he says that.
It is really funny.
Like, he's absolutely a caricature. Who says long live capitalism?
You know, we could say we could call him a caricature all we want, but there's rich people who are alive right now who are more of caricatures.
That's true. Though, rumor has it that the settlement money could be as high as several $1 million.
Rudolph had been building a large amount of wealth with a certain type of niche industry. However, niche is a niche. It definitely wasn't a business exposed to the light of day. An American corporate giant was trying to accuse Rudolph's company of violating their rights. For various reasons, it was thought that victory for Rudolph in this trial would be extremely unlikely, and he was being forced into an all-out surrender. Even so, there was a way for this to be resolved with money. He could just pay that money. It might still be painful, but he'd be able to pick himself back up. If he didn't pay, he'd lose everything. Therefore, more than anything else, he wanted a lot of money right now.
That line's also starting to get pretty funny. Rosa, you're a good and noble little sister. You wouldn't get yourself involved in a dangerous money game. However, your soft-hearted nature has brought you trouble, hasn't it? In my opinion, becoming a co-signer for anything isn't something one should enter into lightly.
It's none of your business, Krasny-san. Rosa uncharacteristically laid bare her emotions and yelled. After all, no one was supposed to know that. As Kraus watched, he let slip a muffled laugh. Without exception, every one of them, more than anything else, wanted a lot of money right now. In other words, the situation had been reversed. After all, the person the younger siblings were threatening was the only one who had no urgent need for a large sum of money. The other three, however, wanted a lot of money quickly, no matter the cost. In other words, the longer it took to establish the deal, the better position Kraus would be in. Kraus was extremely sly. He had known of their Achilles heel from the beginning. Even so, he had not been certain. Therefore, he had hidden his knowledge until the very end, striking back only after analyzing their attitude.
If it were possible, I would like nothing more than to raise some money for my adorable siblings in their time of need. But unfortunately, I have nothing on hand. If you know of any sponsors that might be able to raise a whole 750 million, I suggest you try there first.
Krause's elated words were so obviously detached from what he actually felt. The other siblings could do nothing more than listen, grinding their teeth. If they could think of a sponsor that convenient, they wouldn't have kept up the charade. They had entered this huge battle specifically because they had exhausted all other options.
However, if you do insist on relying on your big brother, I wouldn't mind using my influence to help you find such a sponsor. Oh, wait. I do believe you said that I have no influence. Well then, I'm afraid I won't be much help to you.
Krause's low, gloating laugh began to fill the parlor. The younger siblings, who had been driving the oldest brother into a corner until a moment ago, could do nothing more than grimace and grind their teeth.
Don't make me laugh. As if I'd ever put myself in your debt. Don't make me laugh. Don't make me laugh.
If we relied on you, how exactly would you help us?
I told you, didn't I? All I can do is find other sponsors for you. Of course, I will negotiate for the highest interest rate possible.
Damn you, taking advantage of us.
Honey, please calm down.
I thought she was like, honey, you tried to take advantage of him first. Like, I am calm. I'm extremely cool. You bastard! They grabbed her husband's hand. That action made him feel even more pitiful, so Rudolph shook it off. Kraus laughed as though watching something highly amusing.
In times like these, it certainly would be nice to find Father's hidden gold. If you did, you could split it up into 2.5 billion yen portions right now. How sad. How sad. How very sad. How extremely, totally, truly, hopelessly sad. Tonight, let us all drink together as we solve the riddle of Beatrice's epitaph and discover the location of Father's hidden gold. If we four friendly siblings work together, there's surely no puzzle we can't solve.
Think he's fucking with them, trying to make them upset, but like, he's right. If they did work together for once, they could probably solve the epitaph.
Yeah.
All right. Let's end that there.
Yeah, I don't want to do more guy voice. It's killing my throat.
So real, honestly. All right.
I don't want to do more old man voice.
Please, there we go. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Umineko.
Thank you. Join us for the rest too, or else.
Or else.
Yeah.
To start threatening the viewers. All right. I hope you enjoyed that. Bye.